You're listening to Empowered to Lead, the therapist practice. I'm Lisa Catello, therapist, business coach, and your go-to for all things leadership and sustainable practice growth. This is your space for real talk, smart strategies, and grounded support to help you lead with confidence, work with intention, and build a business that actually works for you. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Empowered to Lead podcast, where we are supporting group practice owners across Canada to be a leader and CEO in your business. And today we have Marshall Stern joining us. I first connected with Marshall through a local small business owners Facebook group and was looking for some support for me as I'm growing group practice network. And one of the things that I was struck by or about Marshall is just how grounded and approachable and good sense of humor he's got, and just a down-to-earth style. And I think as we've been working together for a couple of months now, just a realistic perspective has stood out to me. And as we've been talking about kind of the direction for Group Practice Network and Your Practice Your Way, you have helped me kind of stretch my vision for what's possible in my business and also keeping things practical and doable. And so I have really appreciated that. That's something that I value as I am trying to support small business owners. So it's nice to have it on the other side. We're also talking about having Marshall join us inside the Group Practice Network and with Group Practice Connection in particular, because his belief that small business owners need to embrace leadership in order to fully thrive fits perfectly with the direction that we're going in as a community. And so even if you weren't doing that, I wanted to have you on here just because of the perspective that you have about leadership as a small business owner. So I want to kind of drill in on that with you. But first of all, tell us a little bit about you. What have you done in small business? What's got you to this place now where you are coaching small business owners?
Well, thank you. First off, it's awesome being on your podcast. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this. Well, I was born in 1967. No. In a small town called Winnipeg. I'm nice because I'm from Winnipeg, right? So we're like friendly Manitoba.
There you go.
Have you ever met anyone from the prairies that's not nice?
Hey, I was born in Saskatchewan too, so prairie people.
I did not know that. No, so I've been coaching, mentoring entrepreneurs. I'm calling myself a leadership coach in disguise. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I've been doing that since 2012. But at the same time, and just up until 2 years ago, I had a brick and mortar, I had a sign and graphics business, which I had for 29 years until I decided I'm all grown up. It's time to move out of the house. And I sold that. And I've been supporting small business. I've been coaching all my life, I think, but I've been supporting small business. And I fell in love with leadership about 13 years ago, fell in love with what I think leadership should be and what I think the world needs more of. And my focus isn't on the rest of it, just small businesses. Leave the government politics to that. We need better leadership overall in the world, but there's a huge opportunity for each and one of us if we just embrace leadership.
Yeah, I want to come back to that. But first of all, I'm asking everybody that I have on as a guest, how would you describe yourself as a leader?
It's a really good question. I would say myself, I listen. I'm a listener. I think leadership and coaching are very similar. So I would say I meet not just my clients, I meet people where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I describe myself. I'm not really, you have those leaders who are like way up here.
Yeah.
And they're on this big pedestal and they lead, they're at the top of the mountain. They want all these people following them up the mountain. Follow me. I'm your leader. That's not me. I'm like, let's start together. Let's go up together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say.
One of the things that you said just a few minutes ago was you owned a small business for 29 years, but you embraced leadership 13 years ago. And that kind of tweaks something for me because in working with group practice owners, often I will hear, well, I'm an accidental group practice owner. It kind of fell into my lap. My caseload filled up and I didn't want clients going elsewhere. So I started a business. And I think a lot of times we don't think of ourselves as leaders. We think we're going to make some more money. We're going to have a team around, but we don't really have that perspective. What did you do for the first 16 years of having your business? Would you say you were a leader and didn't know, or how would you describe that?
Okay, you got me. All right. Okay, I think I always was to a certain degree. Okay, and I'm going to explain because of what I think leadership really is and what I really work with my clients on and where I think the opportunity for most of us is. Okay, I built, and this was actually taught, some of this stuff, it was taught, where everything's taught, I learned from other people. Okay. So I didn't, a lot of people, you see people, especially you're probably in your industry, right? So you're a counselor, you're a therapist, so you start a group practice, right?
Yeah.
You're a marketer, so you start a marketing agency. You're a hairstylist, you start, okay, got it, you got it, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't a sign guy. I started a sign guy because I wasn't a sign guy. I was in advertising, sales and advertising, but I wasn't a sign guy. I was trained in it because I started originally in a franchise. So here's the book. This is what you do. Be a business operator. I didn't want to be a business operator at the time. I didn't know what I wanted. I knew I wanted a business, but I was trained how to design over 2 weeks and how to make signs. Things have changed since. But I had an employee say to me, probably the first week in, he saw me we had this big production table. First of all, I want everyone to know, when I opened my business up, I was on West Broadway in Vancouver. When I opened up my business, I had 0 customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I get
You really started from scratch.
It was a franchise, yes. So I had a name up there. They gave me the book. I paid the money. I had the colors. I had shirts that I had to get. I had a table. I had to get furniture to their spec. But that was it. So I had their system, but I had 0 customers.
Okay.
0. There's that part. So I had to hustle. I was at the table one day, the production table, making a sign, and my one employee at the time said to me, and he was experienced, he'd been in the business for like 20 years. He goes to me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm making a sign." He goes, No. And I'll never forget, he said, "Me worker, you owner, you go out, you own this business, you sell, bring it in, I make. I don't want to see you at this table."
Yeah.
You work. He was basically saying the E-Myth. You work on the business, not just in it. That's changed my future. Right? I had a couple of businesses in the past, dabbling in like through university or college and through high school, but that would change my perspective of what my role was. And what I found, even in my training beforehand and then afterwards with this franchise I was with, most of the owners were operators.
Yeah.
Most of them didn't have sign experience. Some did, but they were operators. So they still fell into that sort of employee mindset of doing it themselves.
Yes.
And one particular person I remember, he would drive to the hardware store or the corner store, like, 10 minutes down the road to get a roll of masking tape. And it would take him, probably an hour because he'd be slow, you go whatever, look around, whatever, instead of using a courier or pre-ordering and using that 1 hour to actually build his business. But he was too scared to step out of that sort of operator role and build the business.
Yeah.
I was a leader before, but I really think I learned a lot and my eyes were opened. I had an awakening in 2011. And I went on this journey of just studying leadership and what really effective, good leaders do, because I had seen so many businesses struggle and I wanted to understand why, and even why I had sort of ups and downs in my business. And it came down to leadership. It came down to mindset. It came down to, well, I'll let you ask the questions.
Well, one of the things you mentioned the book E-Myth, I just started listening to that book, and he talks about like the technician and the manager and then the entrepreneur, and how, just like you described, a lot of times we are doing our business and we are the technician, whether that's counselor or sign maker or whatever that is. And that struggle between, but this is the skill that I had. Now I have to learn how to be an entrepreneur. And then there's this manager part of me that has to organize it. But the entrepreneur side of me wants to vision and plan, and it can be very confusing. And I think a lot of us struggle with that. Did you build a leadership team, or when you were a small business owner, was it just you wearing all those hats?
Great. Another great question. So I did start to build a leadership team. Yes. I had, I'm trying to think how old my kids were. They were 10 and 8 at the time. And so I always, even before that, like when they were younger than that, I was always there for I built my business so that I didn't have to be there all the time.
Yeah.
So I always built a team, but I did start around 20, actually before that, I did have what I would call, at the time I called a production manager. He was really more like an operations manager, but I then developed him. Once I went through a whole leadership certification, like coaching, training program certification, and I got that, I did put him through something similar, and I helped him grow and change the way he looked at his role. And in fact, everyone in my team were leaders. And that's the magic. If you can do that, that's what really good leaders do, is they don't build followers, they build leaders. Their leadership.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go.
Did they start as leaders, or did you? No. Okay. You fostered that in them.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't work for everyone. Let's face it, right? Especially if you're in if you have a retail store and you have like high school students or even people in their 20s. And I don't really want to stereotype because my kids are Gen Zs and everything, but Gen Zs. But I'm trying to look for the book. The Leader, a really good book. I highly recommend. Ian is number one, 100%.
Okay.
My book that I self-published in 2008, which I think had 3 sales, I don't recommend. Well, it's a good book, but anyways. The other really good book, honestly, is The Leader Who Had No Title.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
So, good Canadian fellow, Robin Sharma. He also wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which is they were both bestsellers. But The Leader Who Had No Title is all about the janitor is a leader in his position. So every single person in your organization needs to take ownership and accountability and pride in their job and be the leader of their position. They're not the leader as in necessarily what we're talking about today, right? The vision of the company and all of that.
Yeah.
Just one leader. But everyone can take a leadership role in their own position, in their own job. Leadership is not just a position. It's just a way of being.
So how would you answer somebody who's listening to you and has started a group practice and they don't actually want to be a leader? They don't want to be seen in that way. They are, because they have people who are wanting to follow them. But one of the conversations that I've been having more recently is like, why don't you want to be a leader? Why does that title, why do you struggle so much with that title? What would you say to someone who's kind of wrestling with that piece?
Well, I would ask the same thing. I'd get to the bottom up to what is the why? What's the why behind the why? So it's right, peeling back the onion.
Yeah, you
say,
did that
as they say. Right. I haven't made you cry yet, so I don't think. But seriously, why doesn't someone want to be a leader? Is it a fear of it's lonely at the top, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Leadership, there's a misconception what leadership is, and that's why I say I'm a leadership coach guide in disguise. Because if I go out there and I say that, small business, I don't want to be a leader. I want to make more money. I want more clients. I want to serve. I want this. I want that, right? But the way to get that is through being a leader, having a leader's mindset. I call it an entrepreneur's mindset, like ON.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ON, entrepreneur's mindset. And we just finished up a 4-week program called the Entrepreneur Bonfire Series, which I I did a couple summers ago as well, and we talked a lot about that. And it was all about delivering. How do you go from here, that sort of employee or business operator mindset, to an entrepreneur mindset? And it's about the vision. It's about, and someone says, I don't want to be a leader. Well, so you don't want to have a vision for your business? If that's the case, then if you want to be just a sole, I guess it wouldn't be a sole group practitioner owner, like a sole
private practice.
Private practice, right? Yeah. You just want to be a private practice owner and have a job, and that's fine. And okay.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. Leading is not for everyone. Building a team is not for everyone. If you, however, want to grow a business, grow your business. If you want to be able to take time off and the business still run without you, then you don't have to do anything. I encourage you to embrace the power of leadership. Get clear on your vision, so I always say, get clear on your why you do what you do, get clear on your what, which is the vision. Not 10, 15, 20 years. I say 2 to 3 years. And then bring people on your team who buy into that vision. And then do the work consistently.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit as group practice owners. Like, I hear this as well. Like, why would somebody choose to join me when they could go and do private practice on their own? So there's a couple elements to that. A lot of people who are joining a group practice don't really have an entrepreneurial mindset. They're happy to have somebody else do the marketing and get the clients and clean the toilets and all of that stuff so that they don't have to. But they have choices, especially right now. There's so many group practices out there now, so many private practitioners. And I think they're coming to your business because of the vision that you cast, the personality that you have, and they're buying into you, which means you need to be clear on what your vision is. You need to know, where am I taking this business? Because they want to know that you know that. And they're not just coming and we're all going to be friends, which you can be, but they're looking to you to lead and to be the one that they're following. Because if they didn't, they would go do it on their own.
No, 100%. And a couple examples. So I remember, I think it was a couple of Christmases ago, I took my team out, or it was like, whatever it was, my last one, whatever year that was. I took them out for a little holiday dinner. And I remember walking back to the car, one of my installers for my sign company said that, I can't remember how we got on the conversation, but he said someone approached him, someone was trying to poach him. This was before I sold my business, right? Or they didn't even know I was. Someone was trying to poach him and to do said to him, why don't you do these installs on your own? Because you can make 4 times the amount you can with Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just had your own installation business for sign companies, right? Which is true. And I said, why don't you do that? And he goes, I don't want to. I said, but you can make more money. He goes, yeah, but then I have the headache. I have to have the vehicles, I have to have the insurance, I have to find the clients, I have to do this, I have to do that, to do the invoicing. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just want to do the work. I want someone else to lead me, basically, is what he was kind of saying.
Yeah.
And he bought into the vision of what the company was, and then I sold it. he came with the sale, so he was part of the package. He's still there. He's still the company that I sold to. But that's what it's all about. Not everyone is meant to have employees or contract employees. Some people just want to do it themselves, and that's fine. But you still, even for those people, the solo practitioners,
you
still need a team. Okay, you still need a team. You still need to be a leader. You need to be a leader for your clients, for your customers.
Yeah,
you have to have the vision of what they want to know. You've got them, and you might need maybe you have someone at the front desk. I don't know. Maybe you need someone like yourself. Maybe you need a coach, a guide to help you to be able to stay on track and attract more clients and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Who wants to do it alone? Who wants to do it alone?
Yeah. It's one of the things we talked about before we hit record was you're saying, like, what do you want to get across to people? You don't need to do this alone, because if this role can be very lonely. And when you are a leader, if you don't have support for yourself, it can be lonely to be the one that's making those decisions or having difficult conversations. And so to have support is key in this role.
Well, especially in your industry, okay, if you're a counselor and a therapist and you're dealing with people, it's just like the same thing with on the coaching side of it. You're in these conversations because my sessions, although I don't call myself a business coach. I coach business owners.
Okay.
Difference. But even in my sessions, there might be tears. Like we don't talk just business. We talk all, like holistic life as well because their life, everything affects. It's all intertwined. Especially when you're a coach, you need someone sometimes to talk to. If you're a counselor, therapist, like you're always on, you're always giving, you're pouring from your cup.
Yeah.
So there's that part of it too, when you can build a team and even have a guide like yourself, someone to help them and not be alone with it or be in a community of other people. It's so nice because it takes so much out of us doing what we do that although we love it, we're passionate about it. It does really help to be with other like-minded people, whether it's industry specific or not, being other like-minded business owners, entrepreneurs, to just sort of talk shop and just say, hey, I feel that I went through the same thing. You know, a client left, I lost a customer that I had for a couple of years and it really hurt. I get it. It happened to me as well. This is how I got through it. It's the support.
Yeah. That's probably tied with the biggest reason why I started Group Practice Network is because I'll describe it as a therapist, my world got small. You're working behind a closed door. You can't really tell anybody what you're doing in there. And then as a group practice owner, my world got even smaller because now I'm the business owner, I'm the leader. And so I think, again, it takes different forms of what that support looks like. So whether it's someone like me as a coach or, we've got a Facebook group where a bunch of group practice owners are in there and commiserating and celebrating. You build a leadership team once your business gets big enough. Maybe some people bring on a partner. And I think also one of the things that helped me was knowing other business owners too, so that a lot of times we think that we're snowflakes and so unique as group practice owners, but to talk to other business owners, I went through a really difficult time in first group practice. And so talk to a lawyer and a chiropractor and accountant and knowing I am not the only business owner that experiences this kind of thing. How would you say kind of normalizing that group practice owners are similar to other business owners? That's you didn't start out as a therapist. What's something that you wish more small business owners knew or understood earlier in their journey? So maybe they've been doing this for 6 months or a year. What do you wish they knew at that point?
So it's why I started, I'm going to plug my podcast for a second. It's why I started my podcast, The Stern Truth, Business Unfiltered. This is a single reason, I think, not a single reason. Well, it's one of the big reasons why I started it or relaunched it. I think every wanapreneur needs to know. I don't know what I can say on this podcast. You can edit it out if you want.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just say it. I think this is hard shit.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not easy. If it was so easy, and I remember, okay, going way back, cue the harp, going way back to the early 80s, okay? We used to have, I'm dating myself now, okay? We used to have four seasons tickets to the Winnipeg Jets. This is the real Winnipeg Jets, like the Montreal version, right? Front row.
Oh, wow.
My dad had 4 tickets. They were $25 each. Can you imagine? But anyways, it was a lot of money back then. 4 tickets. Anyways, and my dad drove a Cadillac and whatever. He had a dealership. He had a truck dealership, GMC dealership. Okay. In high school, all my friends thought we were just loaded. We had season tickets. My father drove this Cadillac, whatever. We had a cottage or a cabin. Winnipeg, Manitoba, we call it cottages. Here it's cabins. I don't know why there's two different names. There should be one thing. It should be so.
Should be. It's Canada.
And they would say, yeah, you guys are so loaded. My mom we used to have to go play bingo on Saturday nights, okay, where we had this cottage / cabin.
Yeah.
So she and her hopes was to win the jackpot of $800 so we can get new carpets in the cabin cottage. People don't know. Business owners, we're not naturally wealthy. If we were, everyone would be doing this and everyone would, right? It's like, it'd be so easy. Why do you think there's so many podcasts out there? Why do you think there's so many business coaches and books out there and seminars and online so-called, I say so-called, not referring to you and me, but so-called gurus out there? Yeah. It's because this is hard.
Yeah, it is.
However, if you embrace the leadership mindset, that entrepreneur mindset, that includes surrounding yourself with a team. Not necessarily has to be a bunch of employees. And you are consistent and you do the work. It's less hard shit. Pardon my language. Mm-hmm. It's easier. And it's much more rewarding and fulfilling when you actually are doing this. It's like it takes a village, right? We see all the success stories. We see the Amazons, the Jeff Bezoses, like these, like, right?
Yeah.
There's a story behind it. Mm. It's not like just overnight, boom, you're the most successful company in the world, dominating the world. It takes a time. The other good book, before I forget, because I'll forget, because at my age, I forget. It's a local book. I don't know if we've talked about it. It's talking about building a team and the success of it. What a WTF by Brian Scudamore.
Okay.
From 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Okay.
I should get like royalties for all these books I plug.
You should, yes.
But his book, I would do the audiobook if you can. But the book is all about leadership. It's all about how he was able to build 1-800. But it's all about his vision that he crafted in 1995 or something.
Okay.
And how he built a team of people who bought into that vision. Mm. And he brought people on the team, not just bought into the vision, but could help him over the years get to the next step, and then to the next step, and then to the next step. And his success is, he talks about throughout the book, because he's hired some of the wrong people, but his success is because of other people. It's the people he brought on his team who were smarter than him, better than him, and could see what he could see, the vision, but maybe he didn't have the how, and they brought in the how.
You're making me think of the book 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and that's one that I will talk about quite often. It feels really overwhelming to read the book or listen to it, because he's saying, like, there's 21 characteristics of a leader and you need them. But one of the things that I really appreciated about that book too was that you need those, but it doesn't all have to be you that's providing those. So you find the ones that you excel in, and then get people around you that support you and can fill in the other areas in order to lead well. And, a lot of times I see group practice owners trying to do it all. They're the admin, they're doing the bookkeeping, they're doing the marketing and the networking, and they're scared to pass on the information to somebody else. What if they screw it up? Or I've been burnt before. Or like, if I give up the bookkeeping, how am I going to know where all the money is going? But kind of coming back to what you said before, like you can't work on the business if you don't have the support and you are using your time wisely. I just went down a rabbit trail with that, but
no, but I mean,
like, that leadership team doesn't have to be all people you pay and they are your clinical director or your operations manager. It can be a team of other supporting professionals too, to help you lead well and excel where you excel. I suck at bookkeeping. We learned that very clearly and very quickly, and I screwed it up a couple times. I will never go without a bookkeeper again. But that's like, I need to know the finances. It needs to be taken care of if I'm going to lead well. If I'm spending all the time focusing on how to make my numbers balance, I get overwhelmed, and it takes me away from who I am as a leader, right?
No, 100%. I'm glad you brought up the book. Do we have a couple more minutes?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know if you even know this. So I was certified. That's how I started with John Maxwell. I was one in, right? So in 2011. Yeah. Okay. So the 21 Irrefutable Laws, that's one of the key, I guess, his signature program that they taught us. There was a few of them. I would say those are the books. Those are the four. Yeah. E-Myth. That was the E-Myth, 21 Irrefutable Laws. There's more, but E-Myth 21 I'm going to add a fifth one. E-Myth 21 Irrefutable Laws, Willing to Fail, Leader Who Had No Title. Did I miss one? Oh, and I also throw in maybe Discover Your Why, like the Simon Sinek thing.
Oh, yeah.
Book. Okay, that's a good book. Great book, too. There's lots of them. Good to Great, another one. Okay, I'll stop the books.
Traction by Gino Wickman.
Traction. Okay, hang on, you got me there. So what I would suggest to your listeners is, these books are all good, but it can be overwhelming. Yeah. Traction, I've read several times, or I listened to, and I have the book too. I even interviewed a potential, I think they called it not a facilitator, I can't remember what they called them, to bring into my sign company years ago. Yeah. Traction is you have to be ready. And it can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of moving parts to their philosophy. So if you can just take I always say on my podcast, my late father used to say, one gold nugget. Yeah. Like from the E-Myth. The one gold nugget of the E-Myth on, not just in. Yeah. Right. And there's more behind that, but systems. He talks about systems. And I've seen him speak twice. And he's a phenomenal speaker, Michael Gerber. Where was I going with that? Oh, the 21. Yeah. But the 21 Irrefutable Laws, just pick the ones, like you said, pick the ones, and I'll bring them up every now and then with my clients too. Pick the ones that you can improve on a little bit, right? And that's what the law of the lid is, which is one of the laws in the 21 Irrefutable Laws. And if you can improve, your leadership lid is capped as much as your leadership effectiveness lid is capped as far as all these different areas of leadership. Yeah. How much of a vision you can see, right? So if you can just work on all these little things, couple them, pick 4 of them, and you can go from a 6 to a 7, your lid gets higher, your effectiveness gets higher, not just as a leader, but in your business. Like law of sacrifice, which is giving up of something of a lesser value for the attainment of something of a greater value. Right? Yeah. Which I'm a huge Canucks fan. And I remember when I was going through this program, the Maxwell, the certification program, that was one of the leadership laws that I completely lived by during my 7 months or 8 months that I was doing the program, because I had to give up watching Canuck games because I had this intense program I was taking. So I was giving up something of a lesser value for this thing, which was more something of a greater value, the attainment, right? And that's something we as leaders, as group practice owners, as solo practice owners, have to constantly be cognizant of. We have to give up certain things in order to get certain things that will move the needle for a business. And I'm rambling on, so I'll stop talking.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we are going to start wrapping up. And I find myself I do that in session, and then it just kind of comes into here.
I warned Lisa at the head, you had to reel me in. When I get talking about leadership, reel me in.
What's one thing that you would hope somebody listening to this podcast would take away when they think about themselves as a leader? What would you?
Well, that's a really good question too. I would say the same thing that I would say to people. Something just popped up on my screen. That was weird. I'd say the same thing that I would say to people who undercharge for their services or won't do video podcasts or won't jump on video and do a video like a social media post because they're scared of what other people might think. Stop making it about you. Stop I call it being ego-centered. Stop making everything about you, and it has to be about your clients. It has to be about your business.
Mm.
People want to be led.
Yeah.
Clients want to be led. They want to, but it's all about connecting with others, listening to others, 21 irrefutable laws, meeting people where they're at, just being there, being a connector and listener.
Mm.
But people in the end want to be led.
Yeah.
So our job as the business owner, our business wants to be led and needs to be.
Mm.
And there are people out there, patients, clients, future employees, future group practice members, practitioners,
Independent contractors,
don't want to do this on their own. They want to be led. They want someone who's got their back, will do all the grunt work, all the stuff that they don't want to do, so that they can focus on what they do best. That's what I would say. Stop making it about yourself, especially if you're saying, I'm not a leader.
You are if you're a group practice owner. So step into it. And
you're automatically a leader. Yeah, exactly. Embrace it. Embrace it or don't do it. That's how I would say. Stern truth, embrace it or don't do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you. One of the things I'm excited about is to see how it evolves with having you and providing more information with Group Practice Connection and stuff. And we're going to continue that conversation. We're still fleshing out how that's going to look.
I just gave away all of it now, so it's okay.
There you go. You don't have to join us.
I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah. Remind our listeners of the name of your podcast. And I know one of the things when we're talking about, I told you to remind, and then I'm going to talk a little bit. We talked about like having that support and not doing this on your own. So there's a couple different ways that you can do that. If you're listening to this and you're a group practice owner, I have a free Facebook group for Canadian group practice owners. Marshall also has one. So mine is called GPO Network. Marshall has one that's called Business Inner Circle. And one of the things in that, like if you want to get different perspective or to know that as a business owner, there's things that are, can you hear that call? Okay.
No.
Okay. Sorry. If you want to know that you are not alone as a business owner, joining his Facebook group could also be another avenue. Mm-hmm. We offer Group Practice Connection, which is a membership for Canadian group practice owners, and talking about a lot of this stuff, the realities of owning a business and a group practice and the rewards and the struggles that come with that. So how do they find that group? Is it just searching up Business Inner Circle? And how did they find your podcast?
So go to Facebook, The Business Inner Circle.
Okay.
And answer the questions. Otherwise, we're not going to let you in. Simple questions.
Mine too.
And podcast is called The Stern Truth, Business Unfiltered. So you can go on, YouTube, we have a YouTube channel for it, and under Marcia Stern, actually. So it's not really a YouTube channel for it, but that's that. But also Spotify, Amazon, Apple, wherever, whatever your favorite podcaster is, you can catch it there. And we go weekly on Tuesdays. And we have something actually interesting. We have something called Business Therapy Thursday. Mm-hmm. Don't get mad at me. Okay, hang on, hold tight. I do it once a month. I'm not a therapist, nor do I pretend to be one. It's just another word that we talk about in the session. It's actually a deep dive coaching session, but it does get usually a little bit more on the personal side too with some of the clients. Yeah. But it's not. I'm not a therapist. Caveat that.
All right. Awesome. We will put those links in the show notes too. And thank you for taking the time to hang out with me today and to share some of your wisdom and perspective on leadership. And for those who are listening, I hope you tune into the podcast next week as well. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me on Empowered to Lead, the therapist practice. I hope you're walking away with something that you can put into action, because leadership isn't about doing more, it's about leading with purpose. If you're ready for deeper support, I'd love to see you inside the Group Practice Connection, my monthly membership where Canadian therapists like you get coaching, community, and the tools to build a business that actually supports your life. You can check it out at grouppracticenetwork.ca. The link's in the show notes. And hey, don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss what's coming next. We're building something great here, and I'm so glad you're a part of it.